Today on r/am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for doing a half-ass job taking family pictures at a wedding after being told to shut up and stop being a smart-azz? I was taking pictures at a family wedding as a favor. I was being paid about half of what I normally charge and I was fine with it. The bride is my favorite cousin and her husband is amazing. During the formals, the wedding party was great and I got lots of great shots. When it came time to take pictures of different family groups with the couple, people were a-holes. They wouldn't stop talking or looking away from the camera. I tried politely reminding everyone that the camera was the big black thing on the tripod and that it took still images, not video. I was repeatedly told to shut up and stop being a smart-azz and that they knew what a camera was. I asked my wife to record video of the responses for me. My cousin was delighted with the pictures from the ceremony, the formals, and the reception. She laughed her behind off at the family pictures. In about half of them, people are looking off in all directions instead of at the camera. In most of those, there are also people with their mouths open. She thought they were hilarious and her husband agreed. I started getting crap on social media from my family about the terrible pictures. I replied that I had tried to explain to them that the camera was the big black thing on the tripod and that it only took still pictures. They said I should have waited for them to be ready. So I started posting the short video clips of people being jackasses towards me. My mom said that I went too far and that they won't ask me to take pictures for them again. I did a fake cry and said boo-hoo. She called me a smart aleck. Please let me state that I do not think I am the a-hole in this situation. But many people do. They are upset because they don't often dress up and get together and they didn't get good pictures. For our next story. Am I the a-hole for what I said? My family won't let me share any good news because of my sister's disability. I, 26 female, have an older sister, 32 female, who had a tragic accident 3 years ago that left her paralyzed from the waist down. It's been rough for everyone but especially for her, of course. Our family rallied around her, helping out as much as we can, and I've been there every step of the way because I love her so much. But since the accident, it feels like I don't deserve to have any good things happen to me, or at least I'm not allowed to talk about them. Every time something positive happens in my life, I get shut down by my family. When I got a promotion at work last year, I was so happy and excited to tell them. I thought my family would be happy for me, but when I tried to share the news, my mom pulled me aside and told me to not now because my sister had a tough day. I ended up keeping it to myself. 8 months ago, my boyfriend proposed. When I told them, my mom immediately changed the subject later, telling me that my sister was feeling down about her own marriage struggles. It's like anything good in my life is an offense to my sister's situation. This happened a few days ago. I've been saving up for years to buy my first new car. I finally managed to do it and I was so excited. I thought my family would be happy for me. So I decided to tell them. As soon as the words were out of my mouth, the room went dead silent. My mom whispered to me, "This isn't the time. Think about your sister." My sister looked so sad and I instantly felt like the worst person in the world. I just couldn't handle it anymore, and I said, "Can't I share anything good in my life? I thought you'd all be happy for me." No one knew what to say and I left the house. I've never done that before. Now I'm filled with regret and confusion. I love my sister and I never want to hurt her, but it feels like I'm not allowed to have anything good happen to me. It's getting to the point where I feel like I'm walking on eggshells all the time. I understand my sister's life has changed drastically and I'm genuinely supportive and have always been there for her. But sometimes I just want to be able to share my own life too. I feel so guilty for even feeling this way, like I'm being selfish or inconsiderate. Her husband and even my parents share things about their lives freely and no one seems to mind. But as the younger sister, I'm not allowed to share anything good in front of her so I don't hurt her feelings. I get it. I really do. I understand she's going through a lot and I don't want to add to her pain. But it feels like I'm not allowed to have any joy in my life around my family. Now I know I owe my sister an apology for how I reacted. I never want to make her feel sad, but I'm struggling with how to approach my family. I don't feel like I should apologize to them. And honestly, I don't think I'll be sharing anything with them in the future. Let's dive into our next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my girlfriend a dumb-azz and taking away her key after she almost burned my house down? My girlfriend wanted a pizza. I have really good frozen pizzas from the local Italian market. They are made fresh, and if you do them up on a pizza stone, they come out perfect. I have made these for us many times. It is a simple process. You take the pizza stone and put it in the oven, let the oven preheat. Put the pizza on the paddle and slide it onto the hot stone. Once it's ready, you slide the paddle under the pizza and pull it out. Put it on the carving board and cut it. Easy, right? Nope. My pizza stone was dirty. It is scorched, not dirty, so her brilliant idea was to make the pizza on my plastic cutting board. Because that way she could just take the cutting board out with oven mitts and cut the pizza without having to use all the tools. I got home to see black smoke coming out of my house and my girlfriend on the phone with 9.1.1. My dog is not on his leash and he's going crazy. I go to the front door to see if it's hot in the house or if I can see flames. No flames, no heat. I get to the stove and turn it off. I open the sliding door to let out more smoke and get my leash on the way out. The firefighters are there within 5 minutes and the smoke is already dissipating. They go in to make sure. All clear. Thank God they were there less than an hour. It is covered by the city. If it was over an hour, I would have been charged for the response. My oven is effed though. And I have a lot of smoke damage to clean up. I told my girlfriend I was glad she was okay, but that she is a dumbass and she wasn't allowed in my house alone for a while. I took her key away. We do not live together. But she has roommates and likes having a big house to herself on her days off. She says that it's a mistake anyone could make, and that I'm in a hole for calling her names. Yes, she said those words. She says it's my fault for not just getting microwave pizza and having to eat fancy. On to the next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my family move in because my 16-year-old son doesn't want them to? About 5 years ago, my husband cheated on me and then abandoned our family. It was an incredibly difficult time. I was left alone to raise our son, who was just 11 at the time. None of my family members offered any help or support. We were essentially on our own. The only person who helped us was my father, who was a great support system both emotionally and financially. When my father passed away 2 years ago, he left me a significant inheritance. This money allowed me to buy a house and provide a stable and comfortable life for my son and me. Since my husband left, my son and I have become very close. We've been through a lot together and our bond is incredibly strong. I would do anything for him. Recently, some of my extended family members have fallen on hard times and asked if they could move in with us. Given our history, I was initially hesitant. I discussed it with my son and he was very much against the idea. He remembers how nobody was there for us when we needed them the most and feels strongly that they shouldn't benefit from our home now. Understanding his feelings and valuing his comfort, I decided to tell my family that they couldn't move in with us. Now they're upset and accusing me of being selfish and ungrateful. They say that I owe them support because we're family. I don't think I'm a hole and honestly don't care what they think as long as my baby is happy, but I still want to hear other people's opinions. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to let my family move in because my son doesn't want them to, especially considering the way they treated us when we were the ones in need? For our next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to push my obese cousin around in a wheelchair for a day? My cousin is approaching 600 pounds and requires a mobility scooter, as walking even short distances is very painful for her. In July, she has an out-of-state wedding to attend, and I was asked to taxi her to and from the event, as I'm not currently employed so my calendar is open. Unfortunately, my car will not carry a mobility scooter, so my cousin will be required to use a wheelchair. The problem is that this event is being held in a public park. I can barely push her wheelchair on a paved surface, let alone across grass and dirt. I tried contacting a couple rental agencies in the area, but they would not lease scooters in this case because of the off-road use. My aunt and uncle have also declined to loan me their truck, which is how my cousin normally gets around, because I have a pretty shitty driving history. I did look into renting a vehicle that could carry the scooter, but my cousin cannot afford to pay for that, and obviously with me being jobless, I can't either. The distance from parking to the event area is about 40 yards, which my cousin cannot handle walking. About the best solution anyone's come up with is that the party has a flatbed they're using to tote supplies from the cars, but my cousin says she would feel humiliated having to be rolled in like that. My cousin is furious with me, saying I'm shaming her by saying I cannot push her, but I feel it's the honest truth. Like 100% the thin wheels of the wheelchair are going to dig into the ground, and I am not strong enough to handle that. My cousin has done a lot for me in the past, so I do feel bad saying no. But I feel like I've looked into every option at this point. Am I the a-hole for not being willing to just go and give it the college try? Our last story for today. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom and siblings they should learn to live with the consequences of their decisions? So my family's my dad, mom, my 2 sisters, and my 2 brothers. I'm 17 male, the oldest. My dad was estranged from his dad since he was my age. His mom died when he was 10. So we never knew grandma either. My dad was open about the fact grandpa wasn't a very nice man, all kinds of stuff. But he never went into details. I know he really did a number on dad because I still sometimes see dad look ashamed if he spills something or makes a mistake. I also know he tries to hold back anytime he cries and looks downright disgusted with himself for crying. 3 years ago his dad reached out and my mom and my sister, 15, were so excited and basically welcomed him into the family. Dad said no way. He and mom fought a lot about it. My siblings all told dad they had a right to know our grandfather and he should love his dad. I was dragged along at first and I stopped going. Dad has refused to have any part in it, and he and Mom fought because he told her his father was never going to step foot inside our house, and if he did, then Dad would leave and he would never come back. So Mom takes my siblings to see him. Christmas was a huge effing fight last year because they decided to spend it with this dude and my dad refused to go and so did I. My siblings started crying into Dad's face that they wanted Christmas with him. Mom was calling him selfish. She tried to do the whole "I'm your mother, and you listen to me," and Dad told her he's my father, and I could stay with him if I wanted to. They're still sour about it, but then Dad took me out for his birthday and didn't come home until late because he found out they were planning to take him out to meet with his father. My dad told my mom and my siblings since he cannot trust them with his birthday, he will only celebrate with the people he can trust now. I also heard him tell Mom this couldn't continue and they needed to divorce. Now my mom is freaking out because she doesn't want the divorce and my siblings are really upset. They told me I should help since Dad and I are still close. I told them they should learn to live with the consequences of their decisions. I pointed out to Mom she was always big on us learning. I told them this is a big one. My mom told me my siblings are so young and don't deserve this. I told her it's all her fault because she undermined Dad by making a point to demand he come in front of my siblings, and so they think they can manipulate him and not listen. And those are all the stories we have for today. See you tomorrow.